Hi, my name is Ranveer Rupal. The topic for my final project is image quality assessment, and the paper I chose to focus on was unique, unsupervised image quality estimation. In general, after an image is acquired, there are a number of processing operations applied to it. A simplified pipeline is shown here. An image is first acquired, it is then processed, after which it may be compressed, then transmitted, after which it is reconstructed at the receiver and then displayed. As we saw, different image processing operations through the pipeline can add various kinds of distortions to the image so that by the time it reaches the end user, it is significantly degraded. In order to constantly make sure that the quality of an image is maintained until it reaches the end user, the image quality first needs to be estimated. Almost all the time, the end user is a human. So what must be assessed is the perceptual quality, which is the quality of an image of how the average human perceives it. The task of accurately predicting the perceptual quality of an image is called image quality assessment or IQA. The most accurate way of assessing image quality is through subjective metrics obtained from experiments involving humans, from which metrics like mean opinion score are obtained. However, subjective methods are not feasible for real-time applications for obvious reasons. This is where the need for objective methods come in. Objective image quality assessment involves developing metrics and algorithms to automatically estimate the perceptual quality of an image. In general, these can be divided into two types: full reference and no reference. Full reference methods usually estimate the quality of an image with respect to an undistorted version of the image known as the reference image. No reference methods, as the name suggests, estimate image quality without the use of a reference image. From our discussion so far, it is clear that a good IQA algorithm should be able to do three things: mimic working of the HVS as closely as possible to accurately estimate perceptual quality. It should be able to estimate quality quickly and automatically, as it's usually part of a larger pipeline. And lastly, the algorithm should not be dependent on a specific kind of distortion, because that reduces the usability of the algorithm in the real world. Sparse representation in context of image processing can be defined as an encoding strategy where we find a sparse code for an input. A sparse code is one where most values are 0 or close to 0. It has been hypothesized that the human visual system encodes natural images as sparse representation. This means that finding a sparse representation for an image could help us accurately estimate perceptual quality. This is the principle on which the unique algorithm is built. Unique stands for unsupervised image quality estimation. It is a full reference method that involves learning the sparse representation of images using an overcomplete basis. The goals I set forth for myself for this project with regards to exploring this algorithm were: first, develop an in-depth understanding of the motivation and the theory behind the algorithm. Second, use that understanding to implement my own version of the algorithm. This included writing the training and testing code from scratch. Third, try to improve upon the results presented in the paper specifically for the multi and the live databases. Four, analyze the results to assess the positives and the shortcomings of my algorithm. Now I will get right into explaining the pipeline that I followed to implement the algorithm. It is to be noted that the general structure of the pipeline I followed was identical to the one presented in the paper. However, I altered the specification and details as per my implementation. This shown here is a simplified version of the overall pipeline. The first step is pre-processing the data, after which we feed the data into the autoencoder. We use the autoencoder to learn the weights W1 to map images to the sparse domain, and then we use this matrix W1 for quality estimation. The dataset I used was the training set of the ILS VRC 2017 Object Detection Challenge. It itself is a subset of the ImageNet database. It contains 5,500 images. I randomly sampled 1,000 images from them. We can see a few examples from the database on the right. I use the exact same pre-processing architecture as proposed by the authors in the paper. We first form a custom color space which decorrelates the channels. We then randomly sample 100 8x8 patches from the images and convert them into one-dimensional vectors. We then perform mean subtraction and ZCA whitening for spatial decorrelation. The autoencoder has one hidden layer whose dimension is larger than the input dimension. We find the sparse representation in the hidden layer using an overcomplete basis W1. The image is reconstructed at the decoder output using a linear function. The cost function we minimize while training has three main components: the reconstruction error, the KL divergence term, which ensures sparsity in the hidden layer, and the regularization term. We then use the learned weight matrix W1 and bias B1 for quality estimation. We receive a compared image and its corresponding reference image as an input to the algorithm. We convert pre-processed patches of both these images into the sparse domain. We then concatenate the patches for each image into one-dimensional vectors. We then compare these two vectors using the 10th power of the Spearman rank order coefficient. The output of this is our quality estimate. As mentioned earlier, we tested the performance of the algorithm using the live and the multi databases. Images in these databases have been distorted with different kinds of noise. We find the quality estimate for each of these images. We then use a 5-parameter logistic function to perform nonlinear regression to find a mapping from the quality estimates to the DMOS scores. We use the output of this nonlinear regression to calculate 3 metrics: RMSE, Pearson's rank order correlation coefficient, and the Spearman's rank order correlation coefficient. In this slide, we can see the performance metrics of my implementation compared with those of the original algorithm. The stars indicate the metrics from which my implementation outperformed or matched the performance of the original algorithm. On the right, we can see the scatter plot for both the databases. There were some positives to take away from the results. My implementation of the algorithm outperformed or matched the performance of the original algorithm in 4 out of the 6 categories calculated. The scatter plot showed that my algorithm maintained most of the features of the original algorithm that made it a good image quality assessment algorithm. The area that my implementation suffered in comparison with the original algorithm was the monotonicity of the multi-database, which can be seen by the lower Spearman coefficient value for my algorithm in the previous slide and the shape of the red regression estimate curve on the right. After some analysis, I discovered that the algorithm suffered in general for additive white Gaussian noise. If we define an error region that can be seen in green on the right, 60% of the images in that error region belong to a group of images augmented with white Gaussian noise. I tried to resolve this issue by randomly augmenting the dataset with noise before the training of the autoencoder. This did not improve the results with regards to the performance metrics. However, it visibly improved the monotonicity of the multi-database, which can be seen on the right. Furthermore, we can clearly see that the number of images in the error region defined in the previous slides is also lesser. Overall, I was able to achieve all the goals I had set for this project. I successfully implemented my own version of the algorithm from scratch and managed to improve upon the results to an extent. Even though the authors of the paper stated that using distorted images for training leads to the algorithm becoming dependent on certain types of noise, the improvement the data augmentation technique showed tells me that this technique still has some merit if sufficient care is taken to randomize the noise before augmenting the dataset. While working on the algorithm, I found it very hard to significantly improve upon the results, and that got to be a bit frustrating sometimes. However, I thoroughly enjoyed working on this project, and it helped me gain in-depth knowledge about image quality assessment, which is such a relevant field in today's world. Thank you.